When we talk about rock guitar legends, the same names appear in Hendrix, Page, Clapton, Van Halen. Their contribution cannot be ignored. But what about those musical architects who set the very foundation of rock, but whose names are not even in sight? The rule breakers who broke rules, developed techniques, and influenced dozens of musicians without ever being in the limelight? It's 10 of the greatest guitar innovators of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, whose legacy helps shape rock music now. They are the backstage legends whose innovations perhaps went under the radar of mainstream recognition, but changed everything for those who listened. Ready to learn the best-kept secret in rock? Let's begin. Number 1, Mick Ronson. When David Bowie became Ziggy Stardust, it was more than just the outrageous costume and extraterrestrial stage personality that charmed everyone. Underneath all the excess performances was Mick Ronson, whose guitar work provided the sonic backbone that made Bowie's early 70s output so revolutionary. That blistering solo on Moonage Daydream, elegant Ronson in top form. His playing merged classical sensitivity and unrestrained rock ferocity to create symphonic arrangements on 6 strings. Along with his technical skill, Ronson possessed amazing emotional intelligence that allowed him to translate Bowie's spacefaring fantasies into physical existence. As a producer and arranger, he not only established Bowie's sound, but re-established Lou Reed's Transformer album and Mott the Hoople's All the Young Dudes. For all this great resume, Ronson never became well enough known before his untimely death in 1993. Number 2, Roy Buchanan.
Why do you do this thing?
Some guitarists need complex pedal boards to create their signature sound. Roy Buchanan required nothing more than a Telecaster in his fingers. Buchanan could draw out his guitar to cry, whisper, and scream with a touch that was almost supernatural. His mastery of harmonics and volume control yielded sounds others couldn't replicate, even with the most advanced equipment. While he was asked to become a member of the Rolling Stones and was complimented by Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton as the best guitarist alive, Buchanan remained relatively unknown to the public at large. His 1972 solo album is a masterclass in expressive guitar playing that continues to influence players decades on. Number 3, Terry Kath. When Jimi Hendrix tells you that someone is greater than he is, you know you're in the presence of greatness. Such a person was Terry Kath, Chicago's inaugural guitarist, with technical proficiency and emotional resonance criminally underestimated. Kath's work on tracks like 25 or 6-4 illustrates his own approach, combining jazz harmony, blues feel, and rock power into a unique whole. His tone was thick and aggressive, his phrasing unexpected but perfect, and his solos evolved like stories with a beginning, middle, and end. Had his life not been abruptly short-circuited in 1978, Kath might at last have received the recognition he never did achieve in his own time. His legend today consists of the guitarists he inspired and the albums that still blow the minds of new generations. Number 4, Harvey Mandel. Whereas Eddie Van Halen popularized two-handed tapping as a rock phenomenon, Harvey Mandel was exploring it in the late 60s. Nicknamed the Snake for playing slithering, curving lines, Mandel was the hidden innovator in rock. His work with Canned Heat and John Mayall introduced psychedelic elements to blues rock, and his solo work like Cristo Redentor showcases his hypnotic, sustained-heavy style. Mandel was one of the first musicians to use techniques like two-handed tapping and volume swells, which became standard decades later. Most astounding about Mandel's undervalued position is how far ahead of its time his playing was, creating soundscapes and textures that wouldn't be de rigueur for rock guitar until the 80s and beyond. Number 5, Bill Nelson. While everyone else in the 70s was striving for blues rock stardom, Bill Nelson was striving towards a completely different dream with his group Bebop Deluxe. Nelson's guitar work joined technicality to avant-garde sensibilities, creating unearthly, futuristic sounds which bridged the gap between prog rock and the emerging new wave scene. His playing included shimmering textures, unconventional harmonies, and a good melodic sense with a preference for color and atmosphere over outright virtuosity. As both instrumentalist and songwriter, Nelson would not be bound by genre constraints, evolving continually yet still retaining his unique voice. Never a mainstream success, his impact can be heard in anyone from U2's The Edge to contemporary art rock guitarists. Number 6. Martin Barre. More than 40 years later, Martin Barre provided Jethro Tull's rule-breaking music with the guitar grunt, crafting some of rock music's most beloved riffs in the process. That storming riff on Aqualung, that's Barre's the perfect blend of blues rawness and progressive complexity that marked Tull's style. Unlike most rock guitarists of his day, Barre employed his axe with staggering flexibility, shifting between soft acoustic fingerpicking and powerful electric playing. How Barre's comparative anonymity is so astonishing is just the extent to which musical terrain he covered, ranging from locomotive breath, heavy rock, all the way up to songs from the woods, medieval-flavored instrumental tracks. Barre never offered anything other than thoughtful, imaginative guitar playing to keep Jethro Tull from becoming merely a flute rock band. Number 7. Robert Quin. If punk rock was supposed to be the antithesis of technical guitar playing, nobody told Robert Quin. His atonal, jagged style with Richard Hell and the Voidoids added a jazz-influenced uncertainty to punk that pushed the form to its limits. Quin's fractured lines on Blank Generation look set to burst off at any moment, and there is impeccable precision in the chaos. With Lou Reed in the Blue Mask, his collaborations showed off his abilities both at being grating and tune-like, far too often inside one line of words. Unlike most punk guitarists, Quin also imbued his playing with deep musical historical savvy, drawing from free jazz, early rock and roll, and avant-garde composers. Such cerebral playing helped set him as a unique voice, sounding through the next several generations of alternative guitarists who followed him. Number 8. Steve Hackett. Before sweep picking and two-handed tapping became the standard in 80s metal, Steve Hackett was already performing this with Genesis in the early 70s. His solo on Firth of Fifth remains one of progressive rock's most beautiful moments, a masterclass in melody, phrasing, and dynamic control. Hackett's innovative use included tapping, sweep picking, and volume swelling techniques years ahead of when they became the standard. It wasn't just technical advancement that rendered Hackett different, however, but how he used these techniques in the interest of composition and emotion, as opposed to exhibition. His ambient approach was an influence on everybody from Brian May to Alex Lifson, yet he has never given the acknowledgement he was owed as one of guitar's innovative giants. Number 9. Jan Akkerman. Dutch guitarist Jan Akkerman had a stylistic versatility that few guitarists could match, moving seamlessly from classical fingerpicking to jazz improvisation and hard rock. With Focus, the group, Akkerman created some of the most distinctive instrumental music of the 70s. Hocus Pocus illustrates his ability to shift in a moment from refined classical playing to incendiary rock runs. His classical training gave him a harmonic vocabulary and technical proficiency that set him apart from his contemporaries. Had Akkerman been born in America or England rather than the Netherlands, he might today be named alongside Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck. As it is, he remains very much a guitarist's guitarist, revered by insiders but unknown to the rock cognoscenti at large. Number 10. Alex Lifson. It's strange to call a member of one of rock's most successful power trios underrated, but Rush's Alex Lifson has spent his career in the shadows of Neil Peart's drumming and Geddy Lee's bass and vocals. Lifeson's own work for rock guitar has been immense, from the crunching hard rock of Working Man to the textural landscapes of La Villa Strangiato. He continued to develop while maintaining an identifiable voice. His ability to serve both as rhythm foundation and sonic wanderer allowed Rush to create their complicated songs yet still sound like one cohesive band. These 10 visionaries transformed what the guitar was capable of in rock music. They used their methods, tones, and techniques to what they do today, often without them getting credited where credit is owed. The next time you hear a shimmering chord sequence, a two-handed tapping cascade, or an expressive bend. Keep in mind that these moves did not happen overnight. They were invented by artists like these, who placed the instrument on the path of development. Which unsung guitarist would you add to this list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey into the unsung visionaries of rock, subscribe now and check out some of our other in-depth explorations of music history. Rock on until next time.